What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about the ASICS Superblast 3. Let's get into it. So, for those of you that are new to the channel, for you don't know who I am, I'm a runner of over 20 years intermittently. I started back in high school and just got back into running really a lot here in 2026 and have really enjoyed it. I feel like run clubs and social media have really exploded the sport, as well as like David Goggins and kind of that era of, doing hard things. So very excited to talk about this shoe. I don't think I've done a shoe review on this channel before, but I'm very excited to kind of bring more running content, as it is a big part of my training now, more so than the gym even, I would say. I'm still in the gym, but I digress. Anyway, let's talk about the ASICS Superblast 3 and this brand new colorway that just came out in June. So first, price point comes in at $210. It is an expensive super trainer, okay? I got it for 10% off. There was a discount code on ASICS website. If you sign up for their email list, as their first time buyer, and I am. This is the first time I've actually bought a pair of ASICS shoes. So very excited to kind of talk about my experience, my first run in them, and all the things. But $210, it is an expensive super trainer, if I'm gonna be honest. Honestly, the first pair of shoes I bought at the top of the year, I had heard a lot of great things about. Nike Vomero Plus, not the premium, not the Vomero, the Vomero Plus. And honestly, I have loved talking about that shoe. I love wearing that shoe. It is a very versatile shoe that I can wear, I'd say 90% of my runs, maybe 90% of my runs I feel like I can run in. This shoe is a little bit different. I think it's targeted a little bit differently. I think the foam is a little bit different. The fit, feel, all those things, it's just different for me. So price point, it's a little high. That's all I can really say on it. I think most shoes, super trainers kind of range from 150 to 200, 225, kind of in that range. Obviously the ASICS Mega Blast, the one cousin step up from this shoe, is 225. And honestly, I did test that shoe out. Can't say much on it because honestly it was a demo and I didn't enjoy the shoe. So that's why I went with the Superblast 3. And the reason I bought it is I wanted a shoe to incorporate on my long runs more so than the Vomero Plus, because the Vomero Plus is a little bit of a heavier shoe, as well as I feel like the cushion is a little bit different. But we'll talk about that here in a sec. Overall price point, it is on the high end. That's all I have to say about it. All right, so let's get into comfort, fit, all the things that you probably might be here for, and I think a lot of people don't really talk about as much. I wear a men's size 9.5 in the majority of my shoes just day to day, as well as my running shoes. I did buy these in a 9.5 and luckily did not have to return them. So 9.5 fits true to size. And the big thing I think for me is honestly, when you look at the toe box here, I feel like ASICS, just in general, because I haven't ran in an ASICS shoe ever, is that they've widened the toe box. I feel like a lot of running shoes, they used to be just so narrow. And as someone that has a little bit wider feet and flat feet, pardon me, I feel like they've opened this up to really anybody and everyone. So I do have a little bit more room in the toe box here, which I like. I enjoy that fit. And overall, I do feel like I could get a good heel lockdown without even having a runner's kind of knot here. So I ran, my first run in these was 5 miles and honestly felt very comfortable. I did have to adjust the laces a couple times to just kind of figure out the fit, but I love the upper here. Okay, it's just very durable, one, as well as two, it's just lightweight. It doesn't feel like it's a lot of material kind of cramping down on my foot to kind of encompass the shoe. But at the back end, you do see this heel cup. It is a little bit thicker, right? It just has a good heel lockdown. And like I said, haven't had to do a runner's knot here in the back to kind of even more so lock it down. So I feel like they've designed the shoe and the heel cup really, really well. So I really enjoy that. Laces, everything, like I said, very breathable, I think, compared to the Vomero Plus, in my opinion. And yeah, let's talk about the foam. So a very, very squishy foam. That was kind of the big selling point for me, is, you look at the shoe, it's just got a huge stack here and just a lot of foam. This is their FF Elite foam. Basically, fancy words, fancy terminology for ASICS premium foam. There is a FF Blast Plus foam here in the back, which I think is pretty cool. So it's a mixed foam kind of sole, and you can just see it. Now, I think the interesting thing about this shoe, and especially the sole, is it's very untraditional with kind of the jagged edges throughout here, right? You look at the shoe and you're like, is it going to be stable? Absolutely. I'll talk about the ride here in a sec, but just overall, the aesthetic of the shoe and the foam itself is very comfortable. It feels really good on the foot, and I always put a pair of Curix insoles into my shoes, so that is just of a note. They always put in like the thinnest piece of sole in running shoes or shoes in general, so I always replace those because, like I did say, I do have a bit of some plantar fasciitis, some kind of flatter feet, so getting that arch support is really important for me. Now let's talk about the ride. Okay, I was expecting a similar ride to the Vomero Plus because that's just what I've been running in, and it is the softest shoe that I have that I am running in currently before I got these. Now I thought this was going to be a little bit softer. It is not. I don't think it's as soft as the Vomero Plus, which that is where I can see Vomero Plus kind of taking the edge in terms of like maybe a recovery run or something where you just need something a little bit softer. When I come through this shoe, I honestly feel the entire forefoot of the shoe just kind of slam down and it come back through. I just, overall, it feels very comfortable. It's not like there's not enough cushion. It just feels like a much firmer cushion than what I'm used to with the Vomero Plus. Now, I think this is going to be a great shoe for anyone for long runs, easy runs. You could probably do some tempo work in here because it is a little bit stiffer. And stability-wise, again, said this, it kind of looks like it's going to potentially be a unstable shoe here, but it's actually very stable in my opinion, especially compared to the Nike Vomero Plus. That's going to be my big point here. You're going to hear me talk about the Vomero Plus a lot because it's the only shoe I can really compare this shoe to. My speed shoes, the Adidas Adios Pro 4, they're not even in the same kind of level, same division to talk about the shoe. That's a race day shoe, speed shoe. This is, I mean, again, you could run, a race in this shoe, but overall, I think this is a good long run, easy day, maybe recovery run day shoe. I weigh about 175, 180 in terms of weight, and I know, someone that's maybe a little heavier might be able to push through that foam a little bit more. That's up to you. You've got to try these on. I would highly recommend trying to go to like a run club and getting a pair to demo. I know it's not the easiest and sometimes they're just not available. Like I said, I demoed the Mega Blast 2, was not a big fan, and I didn't even test these. I just bought them, decided to take the plunge, and I absolutely love these shoes. So long runs, 100%. Just took these out for 8 miles even yesterday. The big thing, again, breathability is really solid here because it's so lightweight up here in the front upper part of the shoe, and overall, like I said, it just feels like a nice solid press off the ground and kind of back out. There is no carbon plate in this shoe, but overall, again, I think it's a great shoe for what I think it's designed to be. Now, I've heard some other people talk about this, and it's the sole and the foam basically tearing down after a few shoes. I run on asphalt here in Nashville, and as you can kind of see, a bit of that wear and tear just after less than 15 miles here. 13 miles in, you do see some of the, breakup of the foam outside of the actual grip that they put on the shoe. So I feel like they could have maybe added a little bit more of this grip on the sole of the shoe, but obviously they're trying to keep it as lightweight as possible. So overall, ASICS Superblast 3, a solid shoe. If you've got the money or you're looking for an all-around shoe, this might be the one for you. Honestly, I think you can find other shoes that are maybe a little bit more affordable, that might be more comfortable. Again, I'm going to utilize this on long runs primarily only. I'm not going to plan on incorporating this into my easy days. I mean, maybe if I'm just feeling a shoe rotation, because why not? But overall, I feel like this is a good long run shoe because of the amount of foam here, and it's not too soft that it can handle those longer distances, whereas the Vomero Plus, I feel like kind of breaks down. It starts to feel a little heavy on the foot, and the breathability on that shoe is a whole other story. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this review. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave a comment below. Overall, ASICS Superblast 3, solid shoe. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.